All right, so most people open Power BI, Excel, Tableau, Looker, whatever visualization tool they use, and they just start dragging visuals around. Okay, that's actually a very big mistake. And let me show you how you can do it the right way. Okay, so hey everyone, Daniel here, and today we'll be starting something different. Okay, this is part of a new series, a two-part series that I'll be showing you guys how my actual workflow, the professional way to build your dashboard reports. So if you haven't subscribed and you're serious about dashboard designs, data analysis, and everything data, do subscribe now, because that's actually going to help the channel, and the information on this channel will actually going to help you grow and change how you work. Now, this is what most people do. Okay, they open their Power BI, they're dragging few charts onto the canvas, move them around, for like an hour. They ate how it looks, they start over, there are no plans, there are no structures, just full-blown chaos. I believe that sounds familiar because every one of us actually went through that phase. So this is the professional way of doing it. Okay, the first thing you need to do is to design your wireframe. You could use Figma, you could use PowerPoint or whatever tool you can use. You plan your layouts, your colors, your visuals, and then you can build it in Power BI. So this is how consultants and also top analysts work. And after watching this video, it's how you work too. Now this tutorial is actually going to be for you. Why? Because Figma helps you plan your entire layouts. It helps you test colors, it helps you perfect your spacing, all before you touch your Power BI. If you're looking or you're working, with clients or stakeholders, you can actually get an approval on the design and the flow first before building something. So they can serve as a mop-up as well. And the best part about this is that Figma is completely free. No excuses. It's time to jump in. So this tutorial is actually perfect for you. If you want to level up your dashboard skills, you want to build a professional portfolio, or you're working with clients who needs to approve designs, don't worry about it. The whole stigma of I've never used Figma before, it's perfect. I'll walk you guys through everything from how to download it to how to set up your workspace. So if something you're interested in, sit back, grab your computer, and let's talk data. All right, so before we get started, I want you guys to, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and also share and comment, especially on the videos, with what you've picked and the knowledge you've gotten, because this will help the channel grow and it will give me more motivation to put out more insightful content. All right, so the first thing I'll show you guys is to download Figma. By the way, you can use PowerPoints. You can even use Excel. If you check my page, if initial 2 dashboards on there, I built everything on Excel. Okay, it doesn't really matter the tool you use. It's just the ideology and the logic behind it. Okay, I tell my students it's not about the tool, it's the mind and the brain behind the tool. But there are times where the tools aren't enough. You need to scale, and that is where, like I mentioned, Figma comes into play. So I'll be walking you guys quickly on how to install Figma. It's very simple. Just go to your browser of choice and just type in Figma download. Figma download. That's what you need to do. You'll see, click on the first link right there. It's going to take you to the website, and you can download for your Mac if you want. You can download for iOS, for Windows, whatever. You can download the installer, right, that you will use to install it, or you can go ahead and just click on your kind of OS you use. In my case, it's going to be Windows. I need you to click on this, right? All I need to do is to click on this, and the application is going to install, right? The application is going to install. You just download, and that is it. So if we come back here, I will go to File Downloader, Download. Let me search out Figma, because of course I've installed it before. Figma. Let's see. Earlier this year, yeah, you can see right there. When I tap on it, it's about 100 or something megabytes. So end that bit. When I click on it, something is going to pop up. So install. Okay. Yeah. That's going to pop up. And then because mine is installed, it opened up on its own, but it might prompt you to install or it might open up straight up. I can't quite remember, but one of them is going to happen and you will have access to Figma. Okay. You will have access to Figma. So on my own end, I don't use Figma as a designer because I'm a data analyst and I don't know deeply how to utilize Figma to its fullest. I've never watched any video on it, by the way. I just use it so I know it enough to serve my needs. All right? I just know it enough to serve my needs as an analyst. So I'll be walking you guys through how I get my inspirations and how I convert those inspirations from ideas to reality. All right, so this is what the homepage looks like. It looks something like this. Of course, I'm signed in. On your end, it might prompt you to sign in first. I'll just walk you guys through how you can sign in. I need to come here and then I'll say add accounts. Let me just add my second email on there for you guys to see how it works. And then we can go from there. All right, so it's going to prompt us to sign in. It's going to give you access to your emails you have. So let me just use this one, for example. And it's that simple. It will authenticate and then it will push you back to Figma, or at least it's supposed to. All right, cool. So let me quickly open, open. And just like that, it will take you, and here you have your environment to work with, okay? You have your environment to work with. It's going to load. Let's give it a second. It uses internet, by the way, so if your network isn't fast, in my own situation at the moment, it might take a little bit of time to, but otherwise, it should be good to go. Okay, still loading. Okay, still loading. All right, and you can see you will be met with something like this, right? You'll be met with something like this. Then, as a new person, to give you, like, if you want to go ahead and do your quick tour and all of that, it works. There's some this thing on there. So what we're going to do in this case, I'll come here and I will say all projects, okay? And you should have something like this, right? You should have something like this. And then you can click on, I think I created one, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did, but you should be able to create one regardless. It gives you access to two, right? It gives you access to two canvases to work with for free. Anything more than that, you'll have to pay for it. All right. So all you need to do is to create one here, and then you just dive right in, and it's going to open up your canvas ready to go. Right? It's going to open up your canvas ready to go. There's some starter templates there where you can go ahead and do your own thing underneath. Okay. Now I'll be closing this and I'll be going back to my initial environment I used, which is this one here. And then I will be opening up, you can see my environments all here. I will be using, I think it's this one, if I'm not mistaken. I have two, this and this. Let's check this one out. Yes, that's it. Okay, that's it. So you can see here all my designs. You can even pick up some of my old works I've built. They're on here. I do a lot of designs, right, on here, and it has helped me, come up with clean reports. And this is what we'll be building right here today. As we'll be recreating it, I'll be telling you guys some tips you need to adhere to make sure the report comes out clean and really nice. Okay. Remember, this isn't a Figma tutorial about how to use Figma to to work with your reports. So you have two panels this side where you can explore assets that you can use. You have your file where you can play around with your frames you've created. And on this end, you can do your editing on this side of things. And down below, you can create objects. All right. So before we dive in, let me just quickly show you guys how I get inspiration. All right. Let's say, for example, I want to work on a sales dashboard, right? And I want to work on an HR dashboard. Now, if it's a personal project, okay, it's a personal project, then you have what we call creative flexibility and freedom. You can go all out and come up with designs and structure for your own projects. But if you're working with a company or with a client, it is good to understand what they want. Do your company or does that client has a brand he uses? What are the brand colors associated with it? So this information you get from your clients actually points you in the right direction you should go towards. Okay. So if they have a brand colors, when you're working with your reports, you make sure you incorporate those colors into it. All right. Now, you can get inspiration from anywhere. You can go on dribble.com, you can go on Pinterest, you can go on even Power BI, and also Tableau Public to gain inspiration. Okay, to gain inspiration. So this is how I do mine. I will quickly I'll quickly go online. For example, I'll be using Dribble. You could go on Dribble. You can go on Pinterest as well. I'll just sign if I want to work on the sales dashboard. All I need to do is to come here and I'll do sales dashboard. All right. And just like that, it's going to load up with creatives, a lot of creative ideas from actual UI UX personnel that understand, graphics and literally every other um visual based theories. So there are a lot of them here that you can pick up. All right. So many designs you can play with. You look at them and then you can decide to pick one you like as an inspiration. The reports will be building. I saw this, right? I saw this as an inspiration. I saw it on Pinterest. The only thing I picked from here was this page navigation pane. I liked it. And I transitioned it from this to what we have here. You can see the resemblance right there. Okay, so that's how I gain inspiration. Now let's jump back. Let's jump back into Figma and let me show you how you can get it done. Now, the first thing we'll be doing, just forget about this, or I was just trying to pick out, the right color. I'll spin around with some colors that I like, and I think I'll either be going with this or this for the reports for the second part of this video. Now, let me give you guys a sneak peek of the reports we'll be building. So we'll be building these reports right here. It's a two-pager, right? It's a two-pager. It's a data analysis on merchandise sales performance using Power BI, and we'll be answering some business questions. We'll go in depth into this in the part 2 of our video, so don't forget to subscribe. Okay, it's a two-pager, right? It's a two-pager, and it's a two-pager, and we'll be building the same report, but we're going to improve on the UI UX side of things. Okay, now one of the first things you need to do before you start designing is to ascertain the aspect ratio or the canvas size of the report you want to build. Right, that's the first thing. And in our case, or in most cases, I use NET by 1920. Right, that's what I use. It's perfect for almost any screen size you're working with. It might change depending on the use case of maybe the company or the requirements of your clients. So how do we do that? I'll come here and I'll press F on my keyboard. Right, I'm going to press F. That should maybe I hold down F and I do this. Right, I'll just use my mouse to expand. You can see that I have a frame right here. Okay, well, let's call this match sales page 1. Okay, let's call this match sales page 1. What do? I'll come here and I'm going to change the width. It can be anything, by the way, but it's up to you. I'll change the width to 1920 and then the height to then 80. So this is the canvas we will be working with. Okay, this is the canvas right here we will be working with. Okay, it's a perfect. You can see it right there, 1920 versus 1080. Now the next thing you need to do, right, is to decide, is this going to be a, a light background dashboard? So is it going to be white based or dark based? In this case, I decided to go, dark mode for you guys. All right, I decided to go dark mode. So let's tweak the edges a bit of our frame. I think I use 25. So how do you tweak the edges of your report to make it curvy? All you need to do is to highlight the whole thing. And if you come to the side of a panel, make sure it's on design. You'll see corner radius. Just change this to 25. That's it. And the edges have been curved. You can go a step further. You can come down here. You come to this button here, and you can turn on corner smoothing. It gives it a perfect flow. All right? It gives it a perfect flow. Now, the next thing we'll do is our background. Whenever you're building your reports, you need to learn something called layering. Okay? It's when you have, if I show you any report, you will see, let me show you some examples. There's always a layer, right? There's always a layer to Y2. If I come here, the last dashboard I built with you guys, if I show you this right here, you can see that there's a layer. What do I mean? We have layer 1, we have layer 2, we have layer 3. You understand? Any report I build, there's always a layer, irrespective of the scope. If I come to this dark mode, which is closer to what we do, you can see that the background will have a layer, and then we'll have another layer stacked on top of it. Do you understand? Well, when you're building out these reports, you need to make sure that these layers have some sort of contrast so that they can flow together. You can see layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. It's always there. All right? That's what we'll be doing right now. Here. So looking at this, you could go full midnight black, just like I did here. This one is very contrasty. It looks good. It looks good. This one right here is very contrasty, but we're going to make it, really nice. Okay. So it doesn't matter the color choices. I think I will be going with this one or this one. So I just built different variations to look at them to find one that fits the most. All right. So after creating this frame, the next one we're going to do is to change the color. You should have your color. You should have your color codes ready. If you don't have them ready, maybe you want to extract from another dashboard, maybe it's on Dribble, you downloaded it. You can import them into here, and you can use your color finder. If you come here and I pick on color finder, the image I've imported, for example, let me zoom out a bit. Right, you can see I imported this image right here. If I want to pick this color, all I need to do is to come here and I'll click on it. And if I go down to my reports, you'll see that the base has changed. The base has changed to that color. So this helps, all right? This helps you pick the right colors. Just download the image, drag it, and drop it into your canvas. That's all you need to do, right? That's all you need to do. Cool. So let's pick our base. That's going to be our base. I'll pick this. I already have the colors done, so I don't have to start guessing. It took me a while to get the perfect combination, all right? So this is our base right here, okay? It's this, I wouldn't say it's black, but I don't know the color to give me chat, but this is our base, all right? This is our base. And then I'm going to insert a rectangle. All you need to just come here, pick a rectangle, and then you draw it. Make sure you draw it inside. Because when you draw it inside, you start stacking up into the layers right here. Okay? Let me get the exact dimensions I use so that I don't guess. I think I use 1804 979. So I'll just quickly do that. 1804 against 979. 979. All right. It is going to be our second layer. All right. We're going to make sure it is aligned properly in the center. How do you know? You can see this red line intercepted. That is telling you that it is perfectly done right there in the middle. So just let it go. And this is our second layer. For me to get the color, I can just come here. Again, if you have the color, you can just put it in here. Or if you're collecting from somewhere, you just pick your color picker and then you drop it right here. All right. Drop it right there. Let me also pick the curvature. Okay, I used 20 and the corner smoothing was up to 100. So I'll click on this. I'll change the corner radius to 20 because I will be working with the curved aesthetic. And this will go up to the 100. And it's going to look like this. All right. It's going to look like this. The next thing we'll be doing is we'll be creating our nav bar. We're creating our nav bar. How do I do that? It's very simple. All I need to do is to duplicate this. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Okay? And then in order for me to make sure that I know what it is, I can pick, and I can use any random color I have on here. I'll change them later. I can pick any color I have on here just to differentiate. And then you have to have the right dimensions. I played around with it when I was building it, but again, I've already built it, so I can just pick the dimensions. Yours can be different. Just play around and explore with it. So I used 2 for the width, 232 for the height, 891. So this will be 232, 891 for the height. 891. All right, fantastic. I'll bring this to the edge right here. Consider it as aligned perfectly. But we need to tweak this, okay? We need to tweak this. First thing I'll be doing here is I'll have to change. Initially you might find it like this, but I want to change the curvature for each and every side. So all I need to do is to expand on this, and I'll say on the bottom right, I want to change this thing to 0. I want it to be flat, okay? On the top left, I want to change it to 0 again. I want it to be flat as well. And then here, let me quickly get that. 50. I'll change this to 50 to give us that nice slope, right? Change this to 50. And then all I need to do is to make sure the smoothing is up to 100. And then we'll have our color nav bar right here. Perfect. The next thing I'll do is to change this to a gradient, a light gradient actually, right? Whenever you're building your gradient, you make sure that the two colors you're using are not far apart so that it gives you that smooth transition, okay? So how do I do this? I'll just quickly pick the color. Like I said, I think I'll be using this. So I'll pick this here, and for the second gradient, I will pick the slightly darker shade. On down here, I think I have it right here, and boom, just like that, we'll have our gradient right there. We'll have our gradient right there. I can also come here, duplicate. So this is going to hold. If there is a problem, I can right click and I'll say bring to front. You understand? Right click, I'll say move to front. It's going to be at the top layer. Or I can just come here and drag it. You understand? Because we're creating layers. I will shrink this. Let me get the color I used here first of all. I think I used this color. I'm not at the dimensions. Dimensions is 203,154. So 203,154. Okay, so this is going to hold our profile information, right? To hold our profile information right here, just at the bottom. And make sure everything is nice and symmetrical. Maybe I can change this to black. Let's see what the black will look like. Just do whatever works for you. I think I might stick with this. All right. Now, for the exciting parts, we need to create our wireframes. I already sketched it out from the dashboard I showed you guys, so I know what I want to do, right? When you're building out this tiles, right, where you hold your reports, you need to make sure, number one, they are symmetrical, and you need to take into consideration also spacing. Your spacing needs to be perfect, okay? The spacing needs to be perfect. So how do we do that? I can still come here and I can duplicate this, right? I can duplicate this, and I will say bring to front as well, all right? Bring to front. And then for the color, you have to make sure that your background, your base, your background, and your top layer they're not the same. You have to have this flow of contrast across them. So I decided to go, sometimes the background might be this and the tiles might be this, but I decided to inverse it for the sake of our project right now. I'll quickly come here and I'm going to pick the color I want, which is this. I'll just pick it up, boom, and we'll have our color right here. The last thing I'm going to do is I'll click on this, right? I'm going to click on this because I used the stroke. I played around with it as well. Just make sure it's not overpowering and make sure it works perfectly fine. All you need to do is to click on this. You come to stroke and it's going to turn on. I replace it with that color right there I used. You can see the color codes on my screen right there. I hope you can see the color codes. Maybe I might compile them into a list for you guys to pick, but I would love you guys to experiment with yours, but the color code is right there. And then I would change, you can see it is shouting. It is too in my face. So I will just turn it down to like 45 or 50, 45. Okay, and it's there, but it's a little bit more subtle. The next thing I'm going to do is to shrink this. Let me quickly get it. So we have, I think I used, okay, 285, 218. Let me grab that. So the width is 285. 285. I forgot the height though. Let me get it. 218. All right, cool. 285, 218. Okay, and you hit enter. We'll bring it right here, almost to the top. I think that was what I did. Make sure from here to here, these are the things you need to take into account. From here to here, if you highlight the two of them, you see that the spacing is 35. So what do? I will highlight this and I will highlight this, okay? And then I'll change the spacing from 40 to 35. Just like that, it automatically adjusts itself. So if I highlight this and highlight this again, you'll see that our spacing in between is 35. I will just come here, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right? Ctrl C, Ctrl V, still V. I think we need the fourth one. You can see everything is aligned perfectly and proportionally. You get. And then CV, make sure it's aligned perfectly. But of course, this one here, I shrunk it down because that will be holding our star rating. I don't want it to be that much of the same size. But then again, you can play around with this overflowing, which I did here, by the way. I did it here. If you play around with it nicely, it could work. You could pull it off. I've done it in the past. But we'll just keep it simple and symmetrical for the sake of today's video. So let me quickly get the dimensions I used here. I think I used 250, 218. It's already, so it's 250. So this width is going to be 250. Okay, 250. Fantastic. 250. Let me see the difference between this and this. Okay, I used 30. I had to shrink it down a bit so that everything will accommodate perfectly fine. So all I need to do is to move this, right? I need to move this to I think this works. I need some sort of separation between each one. And I need to mark all of this. And I can say distributes, right? Distributes, where is that option? Align, not flip, align. All right, so you can see here, this tiny button here, you click on this and you say distribute horizontally. Boom. Just like that, it's going to just split everything for us. And if you look at it, it is now automatically 30 for each and every one of them. Are you seeing how beautiful and how fast it is to use Figma for your wireframe? And just like that, all you need to do is just duplicate. Ctrl CV, duplicate, make sure it has that 30 as well, because everything must be aligned. Make sure it has the 30. Okay, make sure it has that 30. If you move it around, you will see that, let me see, is it up to 30? Let's come here and let's switch this to 30. There we go. I think it's 30 now. Cool. It's just to adjust now. So for this, I think I used 911, 254 for the width. The width is 911. 911. Then here I used 254. I'm just doing this so that we can have perfect symmetry. Okay? Perfect symmetry. You can adjust it accordingly to make sure it fits perfectly fine. We want everything to be perfect right here. And then underneath, already know the gist. I'll just copy this too. Here, Ctrl C, and then Ctrl V right here. I think we can get that's the beauty of Figma. You can see it is aligning properly. Okay, it is aligning properly. Make sure it is perfect with everything. And you can just quickly check. What's this? 41. 41 is too much. Let me see what I did here. This and this. was 36. Okay, 36. So I can come here and I can change this thing to 36. 36. So you can just drag this one here to follow suit. All right, to follow suit. Maybe this and this might be a little too much. I can change this. I can change this here. I can also do this as well. I can change this to 30, 36. All right. I can change this to 36, and then I can align all three of this, and I can change this to 36 as well. These are little things you do that just gives this a little bit more. It gives you that professionalism compared to maybe building on Excel. So this looks good. All right. This looks fantastic. The next thing I'll be doing is I can duplicate this. Okay. I can duplicate this, and I'll just pull it here, and I'll pull it down. Let me get the actual dimensions. So this is 623, 612. 623, 623. Let me get the 623, 612. 612. All right, perfect. So we have our overlay like this. All right. I'm going to drag it down. Let me show you what I did here for us to get this thing. These things here are just shapes. So let me just duplicate. Let me pick them up. So we'll have this. I'll have this. I'll copy, Control C, and then I'm going to paste it here. I see it's these are the shapes. It's just the same shape but different colors. Let me bring to front. Okay. Let me bring to front. It's just the same shapes but different colors, resized. What you should focus more about on this resizing, all right, is the width rather than the height. This thing can be as small as this. It doesn't really matter. Okay. It can be as small as this. Doesn't really matter. Just make sure you get the sizing perfectly. In this case, I used for this gray one, you can see the color code there if you want to do exactly my shade. 598 and 92. And then for the lesser one, I use 574, 108. All you need to do is just align, Control C, just to mark both of them. Bring them, make sure they're aligned to this top. Okay? Make sure they're aligned to the top. Or slightly, right? Or slightly towards the right hand side. Let me see what I did here. Yes, slightly towards the right hand side. And then you just pick this again, bring to front to make sure the reports is here. And then we'll have something like this. Okay, we're going to have something like this. Something like this. You need to make sure that this and this is maintaining the same size we've been using, which is 30. So this and this, we'll bring it down to 30. The spacing can be down to your personal preference. Let me use 30 here. 30, perfect. And then you just adjust the one underneath. You can see this flow works perfect. And you also bring them down as well. Make sure perfect. And just like that, we'll have our first page. All right, we'll have our first page. You can go ahead and insert a text by coming to T. You type in the text you want to insert. Okay. You can come here, you can type in your text you want to insert, and then you can have your field, the type of typography you want to use. They're all here for you. You can go crazy with that. I won't be doing that. Okay. I won't be doing that. I'll just pick from here. Control C. And then I'm going to paste it right here. Okay. And I'll drag this to make sure there's a little bit of a room. Perfect. I think that works. And just like this, we'll have our first page. We'll have our first page right here. Now we have some little changes. I can Control CV, right? I'll duplicate and I'm going to shrink this down, right? Because I want to turn this into a triangle, rather a rectangle. Make sure everything makes sense. Let me see the dimensions I used here. 15 for 367 42. So this is 367. That will hold a search bar in our Power BI reports. So we'll have something like this right here that will hold a search bar. And then make sure it works, it looks good, I'll align it properly. And then I'll change this field to black. I want to use black here to make it pop. So I'll do something like this. And just like that, you can see we'll have that there. For this right there, just an icon. If you have the extension here, where are you? If you have the extension here, I already added the extension of icon 8 here. I can get from here, or I can just download an icon, right? I can just download an icon. When I'm done downloading that icon, you can then go ahead and you can just pull it. For example, I'm just going to use this as an example. I will shrink this. I will pull this in and I can drop it here. Boom. Just like that, I can use it and resize. Or you can come here and you can search for the icon you want. You can search for the icon you want, and you can also pull it in as well. You can see it right there. I can search for the icon I want to pull it in right there. So either way, it works. I will just copy, because I already built this, I will just copy this, Control C, and then I'll paste it here, Control V. You can zoom in if you want to make sure that the alignment is perfecto. All right, that's good. And then finally for this page, I hope I'm not missing anything. Okay, this right here is just my logo. It's just my logo. It can be anything of your choice. But this right here is just my logo. So I'm going to have it right there. The final thing you're going to do right now is just, what's this? The same thing we did before, right? The same thing we did before for this is the same thing I did here. All of these things right here, this is an icon. This is a shape. If I pull this out, this is an icon. This is a shape. You can see what I did here. Just create, let me show you how to create that circle. Just create any rectangle, right? Create any rectangle. Control Z. Create any rectangle here and change the corner radius to 100. Change it to 100, and just like that, you have a circle. And then you can resize it to the size you want. But in my case, what did I do? I used this same black color and I only left the outline, just like I did for this shape. And I chose something interesting, right? So we have 40, 40. What did I do? I changed everything to 40, right? Change everything to 40. As long as they're the same, it's going to be a perfect circle. But one of them, right? I changed this corner to 10, right? And just like that, you can see how we have our L shape right there, all right? And then you can just use your 40 or round or 100, whatever. Have your circle, shrink it to this, and then change the color to red. And that was how I had this, okay? And just shrink it. Now, I'm just going to undo. Let's take that back. Let's take it back there. You can see, that's it, perfect. Then this once again, this is just the text. This is my name, ND. It's just the text, right? I just formatted it. I use intermedium and I use 12 points. I use 12.5. And then this adjusts layers. You can see the color of the dashboard I want to build, and then like a lighter shade. Let me show you where I got this inspo from. If you go to your Spotify, I liked it. If you go to your Spotify, you will see something similar right there. You know, I saw it here, this and this. I said, this looks really good. And then I decided to use that. As an inspiration for my own design. All of these things, you can make them, and these are just texts, text. So I'll undo, make sure everything is good. So there's something interesting I want to do right now, and that is called grouping. I'll mark this, I'll hold my shift, highlight all three of them. Make sure Everything is marked, right? And then I'll right click and I'm going to group selection and I'll copy it. Let me show you what grouping means. When you group, that basically means that everything stick together. So if I paste it here, you can see that I can move everything as though they are just one item. Make sure it is aligned perfectly here and also aligned perfectly here. And just like that, we'll have our page 1. And it's looking beautiful, isn't it? It's looking beautiful. Now for the page 2, all I need to do is to just duplicate, come to this outside, Control C, Control V. I've duplicated it. That's all I need to do, duplicate. I already have the design in mind, so I'll just tweak what I have to what I need. Okay. Looking at our our dashboard here. That's what the page 2 looks like. The page 2 looks like this. Okay. There are no KPIs. We'll have some charts here, and then we'll have some other charts here. So how do I go about tweaking this? It's very simple. I've done it. Everything that we did here is the same thing. So I don't know. I'll just, let me just move this to the side. We don't need this. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't need these KPIs anymore. Okay. Let me just copy from here. It's just the same. It's the same thing. Just adjust your designs accordingly and you're good to go. I'll just copy this. I think I grouped this already. Let me see. Yes, I did. I did Control C and I'll paste it here, Control V. Okay. Let's move this to one corner. Let's move this to one corner. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. Because they are groups, I can move them and apply changes to all of them at scale. Right? To all of them at scale. So again, it's very simple. I need to mark this. Mark this. I think I used 35, if I'm not mistaken. Boom. And just like that, we'll have our reports here. This is going to hold a layer. Double click. It's going to hold something for us. Let me change the distance to like 40, right? And then I'll change this to what I did before. Okay. This gradient actually looks sick, but we don't want to make too much noise with it. Cover, and then I come here to this bottom, and boom. And just like that, we'll have our wireframe set up. We'll have our wireframe set up. Looks beautiful, right? Looks beautiful. This is page 1. This is page 2. Page 2. That's it. That is it. And all I need to do is just to mark 1, right? Mark 2. And then you can change the title to whatever you want to use. I think, what did I use for my second page there? Okay, it was sales performance, merchandise performance. So we don't need this here. Just put your titles here. You don't need this. And then Control A, merchandise performance. Merchandise performance. That's it. You mark this. You come down to the bottom. Make sure you're marking the frame. You export. You can export as PNG, but I recommend you export as SVG. You export and you save it. And that's it. That's it. So this is our final result. It looks amazing. This is our final result. And this is how we'll be wrapping it up for today's video. In the part 2 of this video, I will be converting what we have here into a fully functional interactive dashboards that we'll be using to answer some business questions in Star. So thank you guys very much. I hope you guys recreate this. Put your spin on it. You can use different colors. You can experiment with it. When you're done, you can post on your socials. You tag me and we'll have more discussions. Okay? I believe you've learned something new. If you have, so like this video, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on post notification. Thank you guys very much, and I'll catch you guys later in the week with the part 2 of this series. Goodbye.